I need your quiet. I need your silence, please. Thank you. Let's all take a look at number one. Anaya, babe, I'm talking about you. All right, so number one, it says Adam and Shayna each improved their yards by planting flowers and shrubs. They bought their plants from the same store, which tells me that everything costs the same. So you don't have to think, oh, things cost different. They could be different prices. You don't even have to think that because they told you they bought it from the same place. All right? So it's okay to make that assumption. And it goes on to say that Adam spent $205 on 5 flowers and 10 shrubs, and Shayna spent $120 on 6 flowers and 5 shrubs. Find the cost for 1 flower and 1 shrub. Young people, the information is here for the first equation. Now the key is first determining what your variable is going to be for the stuff they're talking about. Flowers and shrubs, let's use an F and an S. F for flower, S for shrub. Make sense? So for the first equation for Adam, I'm going to say 5F for the 5 flowers, right? And 10S for the 10 shrubs is equal to how much? 205. Let me write that down. Okay, I apologize for it being so small. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in since I've already read it. Okay? And then, so with that information, what do you think the equation's going to be for the second equation? 6F. Very good, because Shayna had 6 flowers and 5 shrubs, right? Does that make sense? Do these two equations, because if you can't get to the equations, y'all, you certainly can't get to the answer. You feel what I'm saying? Do these two equations make sense? All right. So now I have to determine which equation I'm going to solve. Wait, I have to determine which variable I'm going to solve for and which equation I'm going to use to solve for it, okay? So if I were doing this problem, y'all, I would take the first equation and solve it for F. All right, so like I was saying, we're going to take the first equation and we're going to solve it for F. Now pay very close attention. Let me tell you why I chose this one. If I had chosen to solve for S, I would have to subtract 5F from both sides, right? And eventually I would have to divide by 10 on both sides, wouldn't I? Well, 5 over 10 would give me 1 over 2, which is a fraction, right? Do y'all like fractions? So I try to avoid them. I don't exactly like working with them either. So I try to avoid them. Does that make sense? And thus is the same for this situation here. 6 and 5 aren't compatible. Either way, I would have to either subtract 6F from both sides or 5S from both sides. And then I would have to divide by 6 or divide by 5. Either way, I'd end up with a fraction that doesn't reduce to a whole number. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm taking the first equation and I'm solving it for F. So I'm just going to rewrite it. All right, so I'm going to subtract 10S from both sides. Trying to make sure y'all understand that's S. Somebody said my S's look like 5, so I apologize. So now I have 5F is equal to negative 10S. Is that better? Plus 205. Now I'm going to divide everything by 5, right? And so finally I'll have F is equal to negative 2S plus, what was that, 41? So now I have my equation, right? So I'm going to take this equation and plug it into my second situation. Okay? So far, so good? Do I need to press pause? All right, so I'm going to draw a line here, guys. And I'm going to rewrite the second equation. We have 6f plus 5s equals 120. And everywhere I see an f, I'm going to replace it with what? Everywhere I see an f, I'm going to replace it with negative 2s plus 41. So I have 6 times negative 2s plus 41 plus 5s, okay, equals 120. Oh, Jesus. All right, the substitution part is over. So now we're back in middle school. Okay, mathematically speaking, hopefully your behavior will begin to level out and you all will stop being so immature. All right, so 6 times negative 2s is going to be negative 12s. Okay? And then 6 times 4 would be a positive 24. Bring down a plus 5s. Equals 120. All right, I've made a mistake and I put a 4 instead of a 41. So I'll put it here and correct it here. So is that going to be 246? All right, I apologize for the mistake. So now let's press on, shall we? Negative 12s plus 5s is going to be a negative 7s. Plus 246 equals 120. And then I'm going to subtract 246 from both sides. I'm running out of room. And so this is going to become negative 7s is equal to a negative 126. Then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 7. And I guess I'll just go old school and just divide it out. All right, so I get that s is equal to 18. Okay? So far, so good? Say what? So once you solve for one variable, everything else is really rolling downhill, really easy, right? Because then I'm going to take s equals 18, and I'm going to come back here and plug it in for s. And I apologize because I'm running out of room, so it looks kind of jumbled up here, but I'll just draw an arrow. So I'm going to take this equation and plug in 18 for s. So now I have f is equal to negative 2 times 18 plus 41. Okay? And yes, that is negative 36 plus 41. That should give me, yeah. So my final answer is, so normally we would write it as an ordered pair, but because it's not an XY situation, I guess because we have the F coming first, S coming second, you can write your answer as 5,18 because it does come first in the equation. The F comes first and then the S. Does that make sense? I'll put it here. It looks crazy, but you'll be able to follow it in the video, okay? Anybody? Go ahead. All right, stop right there. We have two things for sale, right? We have pecan cheesecakes and we have chocolate marble cheesecakes, right? Okay. And each of them costs, let's see, the pecan costs $7.75 and the chocolate marble costs $9.50, right? Continue, Shadarius. All right, so they want us to figure out how many of each type was sold, okay? So, but there are two situations going on. The easiest situation to figure out is this one. Brenda sold 39 cheesecakes altogether. That's the easiest equation that I can make from this information, okay? 7, sit up, please. All right, so can we say that, can we let P be equal to pecan cheesecakes and C be equal to chocolate marble? Can we do that? So how do y'all feel about me saying this? Pecan plus chocolate equals 39. Because they say that Brenda sold a total of 39 cheesecakes, okay? So that's the first. Pecan, however many pecans she sold, however many chocolates she sold, P plus C equals 39. Right, Javis? Wake up, please. Does that make sense? All right. So what about the second equation? What about the second equation? And I'm going to give you a hint. It says that the pecan cheesecake costs $7.75, right? And the chocolate marble costs how much? And what was the total amount that she sold? $349.50, right? So how will we use that information to make our second equation? Say it again.
775 plus 950 equals $349.50.
Absolutely. So 7.75 times P, because that's how much each pecan cheesecake costs, right? And then 950 C, because that's how much each chocolate marble cheesecake costs, right? And the total of all of the sales turns out to be $349.50, right? Does that make sense? Okay, you should be writing this down. Javis, you should be writing this down. Okay? So now it's time to solve. If you were me, which equation would you use to solve? Absolutely, the first one. Because all of those decimals and all that foolishness, I don't even want to deal, right? And does it matter which equation that I solve for either variable? No, it doesn't. Okay? So it's up to you. I'll let you choose. You want to solve for C? Okay, cool. I'm going to do this. I'm going to rewrite it. P plus C equals 39. And so if I'm solving for C, what do I do? Subtract P from both sides. Very good. So now I have that C equals negative P plus 39. So now everywhere I see a C, I'm going to plug it into my second equation, right? All right, so let's do that. Everywhere I see a C, I'm going to replace it with negative P plus 39. So let's go. So do y'all mind if I just write it underneath here? Let's simplify. We have 7.75p plus, I'm sorry, am I teaching during your conversation? For someone who says they don't understand, maybe you shouldn't talk while I'm teaching. Baby, you're talking while I'm teaching. That's what I'm talking about. Baby, I need you to pay attention the whole time, okay? You weren't paying attention. That's a fact. Thank you for your attention now, though. So we're distributing throughout. And I'm going to erase this plus sign because it's somebody over in that vicinity there. Thank you for your attention now. Whoever it is over in that region that's talking, I really need you to close your mouth. Am I asking you to do something that you can't do? I'll take your silence as a no. Can we maintain this silence while I'm recording, please? Thank you. So when I push the 9.5 through, 9.5 times negative p is going to be a negative 9.5p. And then 9.5 times 39, I'm going to use my calculator, y'all. All right, so I got positive 370.5. Okay? And then that's equal to 349.5. All right, any questions so far? So now I'm going to connect like terms here, guys. All right, and so let's see what 7.75 minus 9.5 is. All right, so that'll be negative 1.75p plus 370.5 equals 349.5. All right, so I'm going to bring this here, guys. I'm going to rewrite it. Negative 1.75p plus 370.5 equals 349.5. I'm going to subtract 370.5 from both sides. Okay, and I end up with negative 1.75p is equal to, let's see, that's equal to a negative 21. And when I divide both sides by negative 1.75, I get a positive 12. So P is equal to a positive 12. Any questions on how we got to P? Okay. So now that I have P, what do I do with that information? Plug it in. Absolutely. Let me pan out a little bit. I'm going to draw a line here. And I'm going to take this equation right here, and everywhere I see a P, I'm going to replace it with a positive 12. So I have that C is now equal to negative 12 plus 39. Okay? All right. So now I have C equals negative 12 plus 39. Adding that, hold on. I got that C is equal to 27. So my final answer should be 12, comma, 27. Because P came first in our equations, okay? Number 3. All right, it says Asanji and Jessica each took a series of lessons, okay? They were taking their lessons from the same trainers, all right? Asanji spent $656 on 8 hours of guitar lessons and 16 hours with a personal gym trainer, okay? Some of you can already see the equation forming as we read the question, right? I'll read it again. Asanji spent $656 on 8 hours of guitar lessons, okay? Can we do G for guitar? And then 16 hours for a personal gym trainer. Can we do G for gym? Can we do that? Okay, hey, that's fine. PGT, hey. Okay? And then it goes on to say that Jessica spent $460 on 5 hours of guitar lessons and 12 hours with the same instructors. So she went to the gym as well, but instead of 16, she went for 12. Does that make sense? So what are my two equations?
8 plus 16, 8 is 6.
All right, so let's tighten up. Remember that 656 is the total. So it's going to be whatever plus whatever is equal to 656. So how about we say 8G, okay?
8G plus 16T
Plus 16T equals, does that make sense? How we arrived at that equation? And now for Jessica, how does she split her time up?
5G plus 12.
Okay. So Jessica had 5 hours of guitar lessons, right? And 12 hours with the trainer, right? And how much did she spend?
466.
Okay. You see how things are coming together? This is really not that difficult if you just read the information and chop it up accordingly. Does that make sense? Is it making better sense now that we're doing this together? Or are y'all ready? Some of y'all ready for a quiz? Look, some of y'all look like you're ready. I don't know. All right. So young people, if I were doing this problem, I would take the first equation, because I see that 5 and I see that 12. I'm like, there's no good can come of this. I know I'm going to end up with a fraction somewhere, right? But between this 8 and this 16, I'm feeling like 656 is probably divisible. I know it's divisible by 4, because 56 is divisible by 4, okay? So I know I can take this first equation, and I can solve it for probably G or T. Let me see. 656 divided by 8 is 82. 656 divided by 16 is 41. So I could do either one and not end up with a what? Now, we don't want any fractions, right? So which one do y'all want to solve for?
G.
It really doesn't matter. All right, let's solve for G. So I'm going to rewrite it right here. And I have 8G plus 16T equals 656. And if I'm solving for G, that means I'm moving T. 6 minus 16 on both sides, 16T. Okay? Javis, is there a reason why you're not writing? But you're not paying attention. So you don't know what's going on. It's best that you write while I'm writing so that you're actively a part of this, okay? So now I have 8G is equal to negative 16T plus 656. And I'm going to divide by 8 on every term by 8. And I have that G is equal to negative 2T plus 82. So far, so good? So now in my second equation, everywhere I see a G, what am I going to do? Yeah, plug it in. Absolutely. So I'm going to rewrite my second equation here. 5G plus 12T equals 460. And now I'm going to have 5 times the quantity of negative 2T plus 82 plus 12T is equal to 460. We're back in middle school. Negative 10T plus whatever that is plus 410 plus 12T equals 460. Negative 10T plus 12T is going to be 2T. I'm going to subtract 410 from both sides. And 2T is equal to, what is that, 50? So T is equal to what? Y'all, the most important part of this problem is you being able to get to these two equations. That's the most important part. All of this other crap, like I said, we're back in middle school. This is stuff that you already know how to do. Okay? And now that I have that T is equal to 25, I'm going to plug it back into this equation right here, okay? So I'm going to rewrite it. G equals negative 2T plus 82. Sorry. And so G is now equal to negative 2 times 25 plus 82 is equal to negative 50 plus 82. What is that, 32? So G is equal to 32. And so since G came first in our equation, I'm going to let this be our coordinate, 32 comma 25. And that'll be our final answer. Any questions or concerns? This should start feeling old at this point, y'all. It says Darren is looking back at his investments for the year. he had $1,720 total in his investments. Okay, that's important information. And it goes on to say that some of it in an account that earned 6% interest and some in an account that earned 5% interest. Okay? It says in total, he earned $98.20 in interest. How much was invested in each account? You see the 6% in one account and the 5.5% in another account? You would match that with this value right here. Okay? And this is how we're going to write it. 0.06 times x, because they didn't give us any specific information, did they? So we'll let x be for one account and we'll let y be for the other, okay? So I converted 6% to a decimal. Does everyone see how I did that? Okay. And that's going to be plus move the decimal place twice, 0.055y equals $98.20. Does that make sense, what I just did? Now, do you all see where it says that he had $1,720 in total of investments? How will I use X and Y to represent that information? He invested some money in one account, some money in another account, and all of his investments totaled out to be what? So how should I write that? Equals what? Absolutely. Do I have to go on and solve it out? I shouldn't at this point. Those are the two equations to solve your systems of equations, okay? I'm going to solve the second equation for y. So I will subtract y from both sides. And I get that x is equal to negative y plus 1,720. Everywhere I see an x, I'm going to replace it with that value in my first equation. So in my first equation, I'm going to scooch over right here. I have 0.06 times negative y plus 1,720 plus 0.055y is equal to $98.20, 98.2. Then I have negative 0.06y plus 103.2 plus 0.055y equals 98.2. Combine like terms. What do I have? 0.055 minus 0.06. All right, so that'll be a negative 0.005 5. Having the hardest time wrapping my head around that. Anyway, plus 103.2 equals 98.2. I'm going to subtract 103.2 from both sides. And I have negative 0.005y equals, let's see, 98.2 minus 103.2 equals negative 5. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 0.005. And I get that y equals $1,000. Okay? When I divide both sides, let me see if I can squeeze that in here. Okay? And so in the y account, that's where we had $1,000, right? So if I had $1,000 in the y account, how am I going to figure out what's in the x account? Plug it in. Or just be like, okay, if I put, let's draw a line. And we have that x is equal to negative y plus 1,720. Some of you all can just tell, okay, I'm going to subtract 1,000 from this. And so x should be what? 720. It should just be 720, but it's cool. X is equal to negative 1,000 plus 1,720 equals negative 1,000 plus 1,720. Oops. Which is equal to 720. Okay? And so my final answer is going to be 720, comma 1,000. Flying with the wind, a plane went 221 miles per hour. Flying into the same wind, the plane went only 175 miles per hour. Find the speed of the wind and the speed of the plane. Wait, what? Find the speed of the wind and the speed of the plane in still air. Okay.